step forward.
Yo, we back. Welcome to the Then Now Podcast. I'm your co-host C Diesel. To the left of me, I have Professor E, King of the Comics, Ethan Murphy, and to the right of me, I have Lelouch V. How are y'all doing today, brothers?
Not too bad. It was good, Cito.
Cito.
Pop for tuning in so early, man.
Yeah.
Look at that. I like how his picture is like better than all of us combined. That's a
Man, swagged out, boy. Jesus.
swagged out, boy. I wish I was that handsome just for a day. For a day. Oh, the power. I would rule this world with an iron fist.
This is going to be a fun episode, guys. We are going to be recapping LA Comic-Con, kind of get into that. We had our first meetup where we all met each other in person. And then get into the 2022 Game Awards. So yeah, first and foremost, y'all tall motherfuckers. How did y'all feel about the trip? It was probably my favorite vacation I've ever been on. Because I got business and pleasure out of it and some really good food. And bought a fucking sword. So there's that.
There is, which I am going to mail to you tomorrow. That 95%.
My inner child was so satisfied by that. I'm like, damn, I got an actual metal sword and shit. Oh man.
Did you picture with it before you left?
I didn't. I should have. I forgot about it. I got a picture.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I know how all three of us didn't think about it. All five of us actually. Well, six of us. Like Craig was there too. That's a bit of a gaffe on our part. By the way, what I point out real quick, of course, how Charlie opened up by saying how we're all tall. He is literally taller than me. And he's taller than Stan too. You're the second tallest one out of us.
I think I'm barely. I think me and you like the same height though.
Yeah, pretty much the same height.
Yeah,
maybe. But you. I think the thing is you're younger, so you look better. That's the thing. You're younger. Your height seems better.
I appreciate it. I guess.
Yeah, room to grow. I guess.
Right. Getting into the actual con itself. For me, this is my first con I've ever been to, so it was amazing to see that many like-minded people in one area. I haven't had an experience like that since I went to the J. Cole concert not too long ago, where you have this huge area of people, area with so many people that are into the same stuff you're into. You're there for the same reason, and you could literally talk to anybody there. You're going to have something in common no matter what. It's like that sense of comfortability. How did you guys feel about it? I know this isn't your first cons you guys have been to, but how did you guys feel about it in general?
I more so enjoyed the experience of being out in LA. It was a part of the world that I've never been in. I've been to Northern Cali, but I've never been to Southern. And getting to see a little bit of it, even if it was in the rain, that was pretty dope. And then
yeah, I apologize for that. The rain was the entire time.
Yes, the rain was your fault somehow, Ethan. It's okay.
If I find out it was, we got to talk because we got to get some other shit done about because humidity here in Georgia is some bullshit.
Oof,
I think that rain's part of the reason why we were all sick. Like I think we've all been collectively sick for like the last week.
All of us.
I don't know what it was.
It was the rain. We was out in warm clothes in the rain, and we got punished for it.
Yeah, and because y'all are so tall, the weather hits you in the face faster. Mm-hmm. So thanks for taking the bullets for us a couple of times. We appreciate it.
He's saying it like he's not 6'2". Like, even slouching, he's still 6 feet slouching. I don't know why he's saying that.
It was fun to watch because also talking about swagged out. Otis was rocking his. We have images and stuff of it. Otis was rocking his Best Bay merch at the con, which was fun to see him actually like a walking billboard because he is as tall as a billboard. For those who don't know,
it's like 7'2", 7'3". I'm 6'4".
6'4". Still, that's not short.
Coming from a 6'2" person, I mean,
y'all niggas is both tall. I don't know why we're having this dialogue right now.
we are sick. We are literally sick. Also, we are literally sick. But it was cool to see that. Also, the best part was actually seeing Charlie because it was your first time going to a con. So actually having it where the build up to it obviously was a couple of days in advance, but seeing like I saw Charlie, pretty much right after he got off the plane and he came out of the airport. He had a nice grin on his face, but it was a nice satisfied grin. He was a little confused because it's his first time, but he was still really happy. And as I called his name out, Soups a couple of times, I saw this jolly face like Santa Claus looking for a reindeer, looking around. But he was happy, and that smile was kind of on his face the entire time as we got into the con, as we were arriving there, because we went to a really, really good my favorite waffle chicken and waffle spot out here first before that, and that was
with
that guy saw the
the
really
fire
too.
playlist. Sweet
Not
Chick.
all
that's
Sweet Chick.
Definitely shout out to them, man.
Yeah, shout out to Sweet Chick. Also, which has by far, I think Otis would agree, has the best actual DJ. I actually met a couple of parties out here. That was the best DJ. Was that Sweet Chick?
Right.
And then so that smile carried on over as Charlie went into the actual convention, watching his very first con experience as a young 22-year-old. Actually see a happy face. That's what it's all about. I'm older. I've been to so many. I'm kind of jaded, but Charlie was just like it's like Christmas for him.
Man, Cito, I wish I could do half the stuff that you can, man.
Right.
You're a stuntman, and you know some of the stuff that you create. You're dope too, bro. Like, don't sell yourself short, man.
No, we saw his actual creations too. Yeah, they're incredibly dope. Yeah.
But to get back into the con, we saw some amazing people there. Obviously, Ming Na Wen, I love her to death, and Juan Carlo Esposito made an appearance. Buddy can run for the president. I ain't gonna lie, he can run to be president because that motherfucker, him or The Rock. I don't know who's the best at just giving that public speech to get people just rattled to whatever you say. He was like, everybody in there was like electrified to whatever this man was saying.
They literally were. We actually saw the crowd like hype. I think it was too for we had to like full disclosure. There was a part where we had like a majority of the crowd had to just stand to watch him. And even though a lot of us were like, oh man, we gotta stand for this on the cement floor, we're a little upset. But once he started getting into his speech, we're like, yo, we don't mind anymore. The floor's fine. Thank you, Cito. I mean, that's Cito. Thank you, Esposito. What I was calling Esposito. So it was just a lot of fun to watch somebody be that cool in person as opposed to just on TV. To see how his actual real life personality was that charismatic and charming.
And I've said this before. From like again me going back to the J. Cole concert, it's really weird to see people that you've seen through a screen do amazing things you love for so long and seeing them like 15 feet away from you. Like that person is right there, like in the same room, breathing the same oxygen as me, and it's the weirdest feeling. Maybe it'll get easier once I see more famous people or just celebrities in person that I actually admire. But people that I admire and like have done shit that I love, it's really weird to see them that close to me.
Word.
See, I've never had that feeling because most time when I see famous people, it's like, oh, you're small.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. From your perspective, fair enough.
Granted, I think we're significantly. I think Exposito's not that tall. Is he like?
He's like 5'6". He's tiny.
But when you said small, Otis, did you mean small as size-wise or small as far as stature?
Height,
okay,
like height, not stature. I don't think Giancarlo's a small person in stature in the slightest.
Okay,
it's like, oh, you're just,
you're petting him on his beautiful hair. The thing is, man, like you've obviously Otis is from Chicago. He's met like a lot of, or at least seen. You've seen a lot of celebrities, like you've seen R. Kelly and other basketball players and stuff like that.
R. Kelly is crazy.
I mean, it's sad, but it's not a joke. But
we got demonetized. Just to say his name, demonetized. But he has obviously been a
fuck.
But
I hope nobody does our receipts. The Buttercup shit. All right,
I look, man. Look, you can't compare Buttercup, who was a icon of childhood, to R. Kelly. Good God, man, you've got to connect with more dots than that. That's horrible. That's horrible.
The contact. Oh, okay, my bad.
Buttercup, we apologize to you and everything.
But
you still can't play basketball.
Thank you.
I hope he's not listening to this.
To R. Kelly, he's not. I promise.
The getting into the
segue. I dare you, Charlie. Segue from that smoothly.
Smoothly. When we talk about being smooth, Buddy Esposito's wearing the smoothest, like not 3-piece suit, but his suits are like this dude is always stepping when he stepped. Like he is Mr. Put It On. Yeah. I figured I thought he was gonna wear like some pinstripe type shit, but he came in there with a dope hat, dope suit. Like he literally, like I said before, like running for presidency, he looked like he dressed like and had the voice of just a really scary good politician.
We
did predict he would have a 3-piece suit and a fedora. We're wrong about the 3-piece suit. However, he did have a fedora. That was a very nice fedora.
He had a 2-piece. It
was a clean 2-piece. Also, it's kind of like he would be. I think they were saying before I'm not sure how DCEU is doing their thing now, but weren't they saying he was going to be Lex Luthor, or I think it's somebody else?
That'd be fire. I love that. I love that.
Am I wrong?
I hope so. I haven't heard anything about that, but I hope so.
You have to replace Zuckerberg.
Yeah, Eisenberg has been done, but I'm not sure if they actually were going to do. I mean,
I've heard
rumor.
I've heard a bunch of different stuff in regards to like them recasting and resending different places.
Yeah,
like I've heard rumors of them actually moving Momoa from Aquaman over to Lobo, and that being actually, which I think it'd be beneficial, and then having like a Superman Lobo movie or something like that.
It is bizarre though to have it like in the same exact like it was a weird
right. I mean, you can pull it off as long as they're separate. Just don't have them show up in the same movie.
That'd be weird. Aquaman fights Lobo and it's the same actor. That'd be.
I mean, we've seen Eddie Murphy do it, and it didn't look terrible with him fighting.
It wasn't good. But we
also saw Will Smith do it in Gemini Man.
That was even worse. That's a fun debate. Which is worse, Pluto Nash or Gemini Man?
A better example would be Tatiana Maslany in Orphan Black. It's probably being well done. So it's been done before. I don't know how much that would cost and how overworked Momoa would be, but he just fits that role of Lobo's too well to not have that be a thing.
He literally is Lobo. There's like no. I feel like he almost, in some capacity, maybe the writers, creators of Lobo saw that man doing something one day and said, "Yo, we made a character like that in the comic book world." He is Lobo. He is Lobo, 100%. Yeah. Not
even just aesthetic and just like all around personality and everything. It just seems like that character. But yes, so we'll see. We kind of had our own discussion about them and how they're trying to retool shit and how weird it is and what their goal is. Like, I'm willing to wait and see because we've had a lot of bad shit happening in the past, and I want to see what a new regime kind of takes over and does with it and with some kind of direction. And you've had at this point all kinds of examples of what not to do, so you kind of know what to avoid. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Real quick, so Otis, what was your? I guess Charlie, you're saying your favorite thing was seeing Giancarlo and Ming Na Wen in person. Otis, what was your favorite part of the con?
The con specifically.
We're not to be specific. I'm just.
No, the con specifically, probably getting a chance to talk with King Vader. That was pretty dope. That he was willing to, he took some pictures with us. He was he did a quick interview with us that we unfortunately couldn't have.
Fair, yeah.
And also we asked him a pretty good question to potentially try to get for a project in the future with him. So I mean, I'm looking forward to getting a chance to talk with him more. Hopefully, see what comes with that. But yeah, for sure, meeting him was my favorite part. He was pretty dope.
If you guys want to see all this stuff, we have the vlog up on the channel now. You can go over to the Then and Out podcast over on YouTube, and that video's there. Just kind of our whole journey throughout LA, start to finish.
Right. Yeah, exactly. King Vader was. I had the whole idea that you shouldn't. They say, of course, you shouldn't meet your heroes. I get that, and I'm not saying that Vader is, of course, the biggest hero for Otis, but in general, people that influence you in any way are, of course, are quote unquote the influencer heroes in some capacity. He actually was a really, really good dude.
We gonna have this discussion again about heroes. We gonna doing this?
No, I wasn't trying to split hairs or get semantical. But I mean, as far as people that you enjoy, when you get
Vader's pretty dope, though. I mean, he's one of the earlier people doing like that type of content creation for people of color on the internet. So I give him his credit for that. He definitely gave me a lot of inspiration to do some of the stuff that we've been doing.
Right on. He's a massive blurred icon. There's no way around that. So
yeah, but he was dope. I hadn't heard of him before I went to the con, but it was dope. Like I checked out some of his content. A lot of his shit's really well done, well produced, and again, like Ethan said, it was just really admirable that he took the time to speak to us. Like you would expect for people in that status and him. He didn't really have an entourage around him, but he had him and his homies. You would expect for that person to be kind of standoffish and not really want that public interaction like most celebrities, but he was very welcoming, very accommodating to pictures with everybody that was asking. Even again, did our interview with us, and we talked to him like twice. And then I think later on at his after party thing that he had later on that night, we wanted to talk to him again. So he was a dope dude, cool dude.
Yeah, he's real chill, real chill. Yeah, right on. My favorite part of the con, I'll be honest, actually was the actual artwork, because I usually don't get a chance to hit the floor and see things out and about as much. So actually being able to see actual real life people that aren't super duper paid top dogs of the Marvel or DC or what have you, but just real people like you and I that are putting themselves out there and getting a chance to take the time to see it. Just being around them was actually a lot of fun. Like you said, Charlie, actually being around.
Give me 1 second because I have to shout out one art They're specifically at their business card. I gotta get it for a second. I'm sorry.
Oh, but yes.
The one we did with?
Go ahead and kill Charlie's mouth.
Oh, Media Panda, I'm pretty sure.
But what was that dude? It was the Panda, not Panda Express, Panda something.
Nerd
remember?
Let me go to Instagram real quick.
I think that's what Otis went through.
We have a collaborated post with them, and that's why I was telling you.
Right, we do.
All the way to the other
but that was, but seeing that table, because they were actually they were a franchise at the convention. They had more than one table at the convention or booth, but they were great. They were fantastic.
Yeah, were you saying Gallery Panda, Charlie? Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
we had a post with them. I was like, you got to go to the other room. They had dope stuff. So we'll see. We may try to get one of those people in there. So
fire.
Yeah. So I just love seeing that kind of stuff. I'd also like to see the cosplayers actually getting a chance to be around the cosplayers. Charlie had an interview too with an Ahsoka cosplayer. We saw a massive, was it 30 or 40 people that were dressed up in Star Wars gear that were on the steps. This came up there, like kind of improv, got there together to do a big, massive picture for people. We saw a couple of great Berserk, Berserk, different stages of his armor, Berserker armor. My personal favorite was, I'll be honest, it was a Velma that was like full blown. But you think, yeah, it was a Velma. So
it was a Velma that came to the cosplay as a Velma.
It's a Velma. There you go.
That was funny.
So yeah,
we know.
We all know.
But yeah, let's go ahead and transition over into, I guess, the big thing of the show that we obviously have in a thumbnail, being the 2022 Game Awards. A lot of different stuff was announced. Yeah, obviously we'll get into the big snub that I feel like was that happened that night. But Otis, you were one of the ones. I think you out of the three of us, you were the one that actually watched it live with the guys over at BLP. Shout out to Blurred Lines Podcast. Nick, Greg, Sean, all those guys over there. You were there live. So what stood out to you in particular? I guess you can kind of get into the snub if you want to get into it early. We can get into it.
No. I mean, honestly, man, this was probably one of the best Game Awards I've seen in a while. Like, it was like not only were the announcements pretty dope, like the presentation for everything was pretty solid. You got the big moment with I can't remember the guy's name that plays Kratos.
Christopher Judge.
Yeah, Chris Judge. They literally had to play him off stage. That was pretty funny.
And let my nigga talk. Let him do his thing, boy.
He came out with the gold fit.
Yeah, his hair matched. Yeah,
y'all didn't like that shit. I don't care about that. Shit was hard to me. That shit was hard. I don't like the undershirt. If you would have had a different undershirt,
are you coming out like that?
Not with that shirt. I maybe would have had an all black undershirt or white. I don't like the gold writing, but if you would, I couldn't see what it said. Maybe it said something that was like personal to him. I don't know. But if it would have just been a plain black undershirt, that should have been hard. That'd have been hard.
Yeah,
it was hard to me.
Come out like that, believe me, the jokes will be coming.
I don't care. I don't be swagged out.
He was swagged out, man. He looked like $1 million, literally. Like that's actually, his hair was.
I've seen Balenciaga shit and the runway fashion. That if people buying that, I want to hear shit about this.
I got jokes for a lot of them too in person.
Yeah, but they sell it, and people consider that high fashion. But conversation for another day. Continue. My bad. Go ahead.
What was I talking about before?
Just the awards, watching them live.
Just my favorite, honestly, that I got to see before I had to go to work was the demo for Spoken. Like, and I actually got to play it a little bit afterwards. So that Forspoken demo is pretty nice, man. I'm looking forward to playing around with that more because there's so much customization and personalization you can do with your play style. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing exactly how that game unfolds.
Yeah, we'll try to get a video on that up pretty soon, just some gameplay of it. Maybe just us like fucking around in the demo, and get that posted on the channel relatively soon for people that want to see it. Just so we can get into some other big games that were actually announced during the award show. Obviously, I'll get into my personal one I'm most excited for. The Star Wars nerd in me has to talk about it, being Star Wars Jedi Survivor. That shit looks fire. Especially like what a lot of the different things they said they're going to add into the game, whether it be the different open world aspects. They're going to have some, because the map's going to be so big now, you got to have like other traversals. So you'll have animals you can kind of warm up to now and ride those around or fly around with them. Obviously, they added in 2 different types of additional lightsaber combat with the dual sabers, which you can actually fully use now, not just using the combo, as well as the cross guard that most people know from Kylo Ren having it in the new Star Wars trilogy. One of the better things that came out of that.
The only good things.
I believe you can use like a dual sided like the Darth Maul one.
Yeah, that was
on the
first one. That was the first one. Yeah. And then you can also like saber throw the dual one around on some Darth Maul shit. So they're adding a lot of different things to the combat, a lot of different things to the open world, and the story looks very interesting. I don't know where it's gonna go. Again, I'm the huge Star Wars nerd, and I may have to watch some videos or something to try to figure out what that is, but I have no idea what that is and what that's going towards. And I'm hoping that it crosses over into the actual films because the characters of that game are actually real life actors and based on those models. So you can have them pop in the shows and different things like that. Yeah. So I think that's the one advantage that Disney's having with Star Wars in general. Shout out Filoni and Favreau. Hopefully they're in charge of that. But we'll see. What are y'all thoughts on that game in particular?
Yeah. It looks pretty dope. And actually getting to see the guy actually be there in person, to hype it up some. It makes me want to see him in more like actual Star Wars content. Like I'm so used to seeing him in Shameless. I want to see what he can do in a different light. Because I mean, I think there's plenty of space for more content in Star Wars coming from Disney. I just they gotta figure out the right formula for it because they've been it's been ultra hit or miss, and nothing in between. It's like
literally anything not done by Filoni and Favreau.
Well, so
they don't do. It's been really
Andor is a show that is the one that's getting the most praise, especially recently. It's like considered like the masterpiece, a masterpiece by most people. So that's kind of a completely different. Yeah, it's actually look online.
I gotta finish.
You gotta. I watch that one.
I gotta finish it too.
But there's there's like so many video essays.
Early episodes put me to sleep.
But it's it was a slower burn, but it's definitely a burn. I mean, that's one of my favorite actual pieces of Star Wars is actually that. It has nothing to do with lightsabers or you don't see the Emperor himself, but it does deal with the actual reason why the war exists. It deals with the actual politics of things. It actually deals with the struggle and the suffering of the real people, essentially. But anyways, so I think as long as it's in Tony Gilroy's and like you said, Filoni and Favreau's hands, those two ends of the spectrum were pretty good for the most part. I know that Patty Jenkins had one she was going to do, which is Rogue Squadron, which supposedly was going to have some characters that we had seen before in other mediums, but that one got kind of canceled. I do think that
the game came out. Squadrons that came out.
No, Rogue Squadron, the movie.
Rogue Squadron. Okay, yeah, my bad.
But I know that Cal Kestis
game from Nintendo 64.
Oh yeah, that's forever ago. But Cal Kestis, I think it's one is a small detail to mention real quick. His beard game, his beard game is crisp. I was like, yo, that guy got himself. Right. He had some puberty. That boy had some puberty with a baseball bat. I was like, all right, way to go, boy, way to go. So yeah, right on.
Yeah, it was the answer to Cito's question as far as like cameos I'd expect. Underrated one that I'm really hoping for because I feel like they really underused him really early on is Starkiller, Sam Witwer. Yeah, I can see them bringing him back again because he kind of started the whole phase and craze of having the actual actor be the character. So I can see them spinning a block on him and maybe that clone being a thing because if you played the Star Wars The Force Unleashed, the second one was really revolved around cloning. So maybe that, I don't know. Hopefully that spins a block, but that'd be my guess.
I'm sure he wouldn't do it. I don't know if his schedule works for it or his age, but I'm sure he loves Star Wars to pieces. So
yeah, I mean, you can play older Starkiller. Maybe just redo the character's origin at that point. You can do something with him.
Sure.
He seems like one of those guys. He didn't seem too. I haven't seen him anything recently, but he didn't seem too old where he can't portray an older Starkiller or just the character.
He was in Riverdale like the last 2 seasons, or no, season before last. Never mind. So he might be available. Available.
Yeah, I mean, that'd probably be one of the bigger roles he's gotten. So I hope he gets it. It'd be dope to see him in actual like canon Star Wars stuff. So yeah, I go for it. Absolutely.
If you make
his characters is like bananas too. You all see what that guy can do, man. It's like Jesus Lord, he'd be amazing.
It's like snatching the ship out of space. Yeah,
full-blown Star Destroyers. Yeah,
there's all kinds of things about that. Like the things already coming down. It's the whole thing. But we'll see. I'm excited. Like these guys.
I wouldn't be mad about Maul. Cito, you definitely on point with that.
Yeah, Maul. Yeah, Maul would be great.
I think he was dead by this point in the show, wasn't it? Because this happens during the transition of the Republic to the Empire being taken over. Like
Yeah,
Vader
once you
did?
get to episode 4, Maul's dead.
because Maul dies going to see Kenobi on Tatooine, like a little bit after the
It's between episode 3 and
Whoa,
episode 4.
Wait, no, because I mean, he's
it's
shown
in that
alive in Solo.
Yeah, but I think Solo still takes place before episode 4.
It's before.
Does it?
Luke is still
Mhm.
a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, Luke's not an adult yet.
He's not an adult yet.
When he dies in Rebels, he asks Kenobi like, "Why are you here? Oh, you're protecting something, a child."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but it could be. It's in that same time period because we know Vader's around during that time period in the Jedi in the first game, and we know Vader is at least in his early days in Rebels as well. So when he dies, so it's somewhere in that timeline. So he could be alive, but he's not going to be alive for too much longer.
It would be dope if Starkiller somehow showed up in this game because they did show Vader in the last spoiler alert, the last game as well.
Okay, so he can't show up then. Yeah, if it's after the fact. My bad.
Okay.
What were you saying though?
No, I'd say it'd be cool if Starkiller or his clone or something showed up in this game. I don't know what the timeline would work for that, but I don't know.
It
don't really matter for that one because it wasn't canon.
Up somehow, like getting sent back in time.
That'd be a way to do it.
Yeah.
I'm
for it.
Because we already know that in Rebels is time travel. I don't know. They're doing good shit. Hey, Favreau, Filoni, shout out to y'all. Y'all do dope shit. That's all I got to say.
Sure.
I was excited about all this shit. I don't know how much involvement they had in the game story being written, but
Probably none. The game, that's another whole. They don't have time for
I don't look up who wrote the game stories or the screenplay writers for that because they did an amazing job on that. But to get off Star Wars Survivor, because I know we've been on this for a minute, I don't want to turn this into the Star Wars show. I would if I could. But moving on to other games, obviously one of the bigger things that happened that night being the introduction of the last role that Kevin Conroy is going to be taking a part of as Batman is going to be Suicide Squad. Justice League Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. I almost had it in reverse. I'm extremely excited for this, especially this being like a 4-person co-op game that we can all play with the homies. And then from the early gameplay that we saw, it looks like the traversal looks fun, the combat looks fun, everything about it looks fun. Even got my girl Tara Strong came back to play Harley Quinn. So literally all my favorite voice actors are going to be in this. I'm hoping they have more actors from the Arkhamverse and the animated series stuff. So we shall see. We shall see. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Because I know that was they pushed the Conroy Batman thing really hard in that trailer.
Well, I don't know really hard, but it was definitely there. Yeah, it was definitely there. My first thought actually was the very beginning, Rocksteady. Seeing that, especially, we had our thoughts on Gotham Knights, but I think everyone can collectively agree that Gotham Knights isn't as good as the original Rocksteady games. So
Did Rocksteady do that?
No. Rocksteady did Suicide.
Montreal did
Gotham Knights, but Rocksteady did Suicide Squad kills. Yeah. So at the beginning of the trailer, it shows in big bold letters, "Hey, we're back. This is Rocksteady. This is not the people that did the Gotham Knights game." So seeing that was actually comforting in some level too. Like you said, hearing Tara Strong's voice as Harley Quinn was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then they didn't show any actual gameplay footage. It's just a trailer at this particular event, but they did show in prominence for the first time Batman and his new outfit essentially, and Kevin Conroy doing his voice. And the thing is, there were so many people that openly wept when they heard his voice. So it was just it hit boy.
Otis, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of that game. I'm hoping they get Phil Lamar to come do GL.
What are you talking about?
What?
I don't know what that means.
Jesus.
Yeah, but John Stewart, Lantern, Phil Lamar, I'm on board with that. Continue, my bad.
Yeah, I still got dibs on Captain Boomerang. I said that as soon as I
got dead shot though. I called that.
I remember you saying that. I was like, what? Because I remember saying, why would you?
I
remember you saying that.
Because he can teleport to where his boomerangs are. As soon as I saw teleportation, it was a wrap. And yeah, I mean, hearing Kevin Conroy in that took that game from maybe I'll get it to for sure now. So
I'm pre-ordering that game. As soon as I get the money up, I'm pre-ordering that game.
So is it a 4-person co-op? Is that what it is, Sam?
I think it's 4 to 5.
It's DC's response to Avengers. Hopefully they do it right.
I don't think. Well, maybe if they add in more members of the Suicide Squad, that's a possibility.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of them because those who know in the comic books, every issue, at least one person dies. That's the whole bit. But the thing is, you have again. I'm going back to Rocksteady. As far as I'm concerned, Rocksteady hasn't made a bad game, so I'm not worried about
Arkham
it.
Knight was.
It wasn't bad. It still wasn't bad though. I mean, if you think about a bad game, it played well. Yeah, you had to use the Batmobile a lot, but it looks good. There's lots of the controls handle really well. It's not a bad game by any means.
It wasn't good. It's in that middle area.
I know. You chime in, audience.
This is me being an Arkham fanboy, and I love them all. I think Origins is probably one of the better games. I
like Origins. I actually like all four of them, to be honest. All four of the main Arkham games, to be honest. I don't think Arkham Knight's a bad game. I think that's I think it's a good game. It's also a good game. Anyways, I still look forward to it. What did you say?
I wouldn't call it bad either. It was solid. Like it's like a 7.
From a technical standpoint, yes. From the actual playing through the shit, not so much. Story was lackluster, and you were lied to. The mechanics, you were forced to do certain things. Like obviously, they still have the fight mechanics and all the other stuff from previous games that were dope, but a lot of the shit they tried to implement in that game was not it. But that's a conversation for another day, though.
We'll get into that
interview with him, though.
No, not the game. It was for
I'm talking about Craig.
Oh. Yes, I didn't know that.
I didn't even know. I mean, I can't say that for sure. I don't know for sure. I know the only interaction I've ever had with him was when I DM'd him when we first started the show to get him for an interview, and he was like, "I can't right now, but good luck to you guys." So maybe I don't know if it was just that day or what was up with him. I don't know, but I can't speak on his character until I actually meet the guy.
I don't know much about. But the thing is, all I will say though is that if the worst thing Phil Lamar did to you is literally ignore you for an hour in this town, that's Jesus. Just trying to date people, they've done a lot worse than that. So it's I'm sorry it happened to you, Craig, but I wouldn't necessarily call him an asshole just yet. I'm sorry he obviously ignored you for an hour though.
Yeah. Moving on to another game that's highly anticipated. Well, at least for me, I think it's highly anticipated. Yet going through these games, something that I think we'd actually enjoy. We can make some content on is that of Crime Boss Rockay City. It is a game. It's pretty much a heist game. I think a 4 to 5 person co-op game, and
first
a lot
person
of
also
is first person game, and it features a lot of well-known actors as characters in it. Danny Trejo's in it. Chuck Norris is a sheriff in this, so that's even funnier, doing roundhouse kicks and shit.
Yep. Don't forget the main name, my favorite name.
Damian Portier, Travis Baker? Travis Baker's in this. There's a lot of
Danny Glover.
Danny Glover. Y'all gonna say Danny.
He looks like Murtaugh, Otis. I know you saw that with your beautiful hair. He looks like friggin' Murtaugh with his mustache. I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
So they have some really dope actors in this, and a lot of the roles I feel like are fit those characters. I can't like Chuck Norris being a sheriff in a video game is like the perfect casting. When I saw him do a roundhouse kick, I'm like, okay, I can get behind this.
It's like fan service the game, basically.
Literally, it's fan service the game.
Yeah.
And then again, any game where we can have the homie co-op experience, I'm down for.
Yeah.
Did you guys get any info on this game ahead of time, or looks like he's interested in it?
Yeah, it's not funny.
So, what was your first impression about it?
I mean, I like the characters. I like the actors that they picked to be in the roles. I think it could be a fun game for people to play. It's just not my type of game. I usually go for escapism when I'm playing a game. That doesn't really give me a whole lot of that.
I mean, did you see the gameplay for the game at all?
Yeah, I mean, not really. As soon as I kind of saw the premise, I kind of tuned out for it. It wasn't for me.
Never been into the heist. It's because to me it just seems like a big raid, like in the sense you're kind of planning out a heist. I don't know the details of it yet, but I've only seen the actual gameplay of like them walking around shooting guns and shit like that.
Yeah, I don't know from what I understand, Charlie, it is kind of almost like a first person GTA of sorts with actual like real life actors playing themselves in the game. What I understand is a pretty high budget thing because they actually are. I guess at least the voices and not the mocap.
Well, they're not playing themselves; they're playing characters.
No, but they're like Danny Glover is voiced by his character is voiced by Danny.
Yeah.
I don't know I'm not sure they're the mocap or whatnot, but I think it's what I was described when I saw it was more or less it was meant to be somewhat of a first person type of GTA. So I don't know if it means it's that open world as well with the heists you do, the jobs you pull off, or the way the story unfolds. But I'm looking forward to just at least trying it. Y'all know how much of a hardcore '80s and I guess '90s too buddy cop enthusiast I am. Danny Glover stars like one of my favorite ones of all time, and seeing him, like I was like, when I watched it before the trailer, I was like, this is kind of cool. Then I saw him pop up with his same Murtaugh mustache. I was like, I lost my mind, so I had to buy it by principle.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what it looks like. Granted, I'm hoping that the technical aspects and mechanics are top notch, because if you have the money to pay all these actors, you gotta have funding behind you to make this game actually like play well.
Right.
Hopefully, you didn't burn all your funding out on getting the actual actors to take part in it. So yeah, we shall see. Getting into another game that another one that I'm personally excited for, the Hellboy Web of Word or Ward. I don't know.
It's WYRD.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys played it, but I played the I think the only most recent Hellboy game on the PS3. And kind of it was done in a similar comic book art style. And handled that. It was I think that one was a co-op game, because I remember me and my little brother played that one together. I enjoyed it. It was like a beat 'em up. I think this one may be. It looks like it's gonna have a little bit more depth in the combat. I'm not sure. What are you guys' thoughts on it? Did you care about it at all?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw the trailer for it. I like the art, the cel shaded art. You know, I'm always a big fan of games that look like that. In the trailer, did they say that was Ron Perlman that was voicing him? Because
I hope so. I don't remember seeing that exactly.
The few voice notes that I heard sounded similar to him. So I mean, I'm hoping that is him.
I think they're at least voice style if it's not him.
Right. Yeah, it looks like a game that could be fun. I don't think I'll buy it personally, but I'll for sure watch Charlie's playthrough of it.
Yeah,
facts. Yeah, facts. I will probably. I might, because I do like the Hellboy comic book much more than the later film. The last film that was that Mike Mignola was involved with. I was like, how is it the same writer?
Yeah,
but I actually do like the original comics, because that's the exact same art style, which we all know from Mike Mignola. And it is like that cel shading that they do in games. And it looked like, I think I heard that it was doing like over the shoulder type of gameplay, like the same way you do like in God of War or whatnot. So I'm here for it. I'm here for the idea of actually being able to control Hellboy in a kind of a full blown third person action.
The art on it looks pretty nice. So yeah, it's definitely something that caught my interest, but I wouldn't put the bill for it.
Fair
enough.
Fair enough.
Let me check it out. Moving on to the fighting scene, obviously. Tekken 8 was announced as well. That story looks like it's going to be kind of wild, because we got Devil Jin or Devil Kazuya flying around in the city destroying shit. So I don't know where this is going to go. I used to love Tekken. I wasn't a huge fighter fan, but I know Tekken and Mortal Kombat were like the two. Soul Calibur to an extent as well were like the only fighting games I really got into really heavy. Were you guys excited about Tekken 8? Are you going to purchase it at all?
No. I'm gonna watch a lot of streams of it though. Like
I'm gonna
fighters. I can't think of a fighter that I've been like excited to play for a while, besides maybe like For Honor.
For Honor.
But like I love watching the matches for it. I love watching the people that like you probably would see though. You probably would beat me in Tekken. See me in Destiny though.
So give me some time in Tekken. You don't want no smoke with me. Let me get dust off the rust. I got you.
Those games, because we are our buddy friend of the show, Nick. Shout out to Nick, of course, in his own show. That you see pros like how in depth the pros get with even the above average casuals. In depth they get with that fighting system. You can't come in there not knowing what you're doing. They will destroy you a lot. But I like Otis though. I'm gonna just enjoy watching people play. I'm actually gonna go to Cito's house and watch him play all day, because it's so much fun to watch Tekken fights unfold, and also the graphics. My God, y'all! I know the biggest one I saw. The one that made me lose my mind, of course, was the part with Law. It was swinging his nunchucks around and flexing, and he looked like a Bruce Lee on steroids. I was like, that's one of the greatest shots I've ever seen in my life. I love, of course, when your boy Jim was like slamming someone down through a building. Old school like angel versus demon. It was like this is a lot of fun to watch the game essentially.
Love watching it. Tekken is probably so my tier of games to watch people play. Number one is Marvel vs. Capcom 2, because just seeing people go crazy in that is just on a different level. Number two is Ultimate Street Fighter. 5 because I've seen some
Pros, yeah.
some crazy things in that. But
Pros.
this Tekken 8 might take that number 3 spot, man. I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how the game plays when it's fully out. Hey, I mean, these other games like Street Fighter 6. I'm looking forward to. Like I think because they also showcase it there as well, but it didn't look as clean as Tekken 8 to me. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So
No,
we
it
can
looks very
transition to Street
different.
Fighter real quick. Then
They,
we get into that.
yeah, real quick. So real quick, one thing that Cito brought up was, of course, the character King. Sort of mentioned what's one thing. Our buddy, friend of the show, Jason, Gorilla Wolf, the professional, the semi-pro wrestler. He loves playing as King in Tekken as well. And I saw him myself. I saw him do the move with King where it's one grapple that goes to the entire match. We killed him off that one move. So I've seen King players throw down. So if Jason wants to throw down with Cito, that'd be a hell of a match. But go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, transitioning into Street Fighter 6. Obviously, that's another big anticipated fighter that's going to be coming out relatively soon. I never got into the Street Fighter games. I like the lore and the different characters, but I never personally got into the games really heavy myself. Because the combos in that game were really wild and like the directional. I don't know. It was for me. It just wasn't for me. Did you? Were you guys ever really big into it?
I'll definitely check that out. See though.
Yeah, he's a player.
Were you guys ever into Street Fighter like that?
Well, Street Fighter is my bread and butter, as the message there clearly states.
Jesus Christ.
I grew up playing Street Fighter to pieces with my brother. I was always Ken. He was always Ryu. He was a little bit better than me, but sometimes I would cheat. Like I would literally like slap the controller out of his hands or whatnot. So but I love the lore of Street Fighter. Also, it's my favorite personal lore. It's very bare bones, basic with the story, more or less, between Ryu and Ken's ideas or their history with their Goken and Akuma and everything else. But for me, it just works. In the anime, I would still argue. I showed Otis one of the fights. The anime of Street Fighter 2 from the 90s is still to this day one of the best actual adaptations of a video game to an anime, period. So I love Street Fighter. I'm not as good at it as most, obviously, hardcore players, but I thoroughly enjoy playing that one. That's the one I would go to consistently. Mortal Kombat's great. Tekken's great, of course. Soul Calibur is a lot of fun, but Street Fighter is my bread and butter.
Right. Otis?
I mean, Street Fighter. Well, I mean, coming up, like the two big fighting games out were Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Like those are the two like real building blocks. Tekken came along a little bit after, so I mean, I had more play on Street Fighter early on, but after I can't remember which game it was. But they took a long break in continuing the chain of Street Fighter games, so I got into Tekken more, and Since then, I've always been more of on the Tekken train than Street Fighter. But Street Fighter, like the characters, are always iconic. Like King, Ryu, Akuma has always been some of the better known characters. Period. When it comes to any IP at all.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would never deny exactly how iconic it is, but I'm more. Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Street Fighter is my hierarchy when it comes to those.
Right on. And let me ask y'all a personal question right quick, though. Based purely off of Tekken 8 and Street Fighter 6, visuals, which visual do you think has more drip? Because they are
Tekken.
two different styles.
Tekken.
You think Tekken?
For sure.
Yeah, I don't think Street Fighter characters really have too much drip. They have cool designs, but the drip, they don't be dressing the best.
Yeah, I don't mean their clothing or whatnot. I mean as far as actual game aesthetic, as far as like in Street Fighter, there's a lot of street like graffiti and that kind of art that's going on with it too, and the way the characters, the flash, the style around them. Tekken has superior graphics with the characters, actual like textures and everything else too. I like that those games look so different. I like that we're having different types of fighting games.
I prefer Tekken. I feel like their fighting areas are a little bit more elaborate, and I'm pretty sure they're layered, right? Don't they have things where you can like throw somebody from one area to the next in that one, like from transitioning, I believe, or one of the games?
I mean, they've had it before. It's not a guarantee in every stage. It just depends on how they build it.
You're thinking of Dead or Alive, Charlie. That's where it's known.
No,
game was
Tekken.
known for.
Tekken,
Tekken does it too, but it's not. Yeah, it does do it some. It does do it some. It's not as much though.
Yeah, Dead or Alive started it, then Mortal Kombat stole it, and then Tekken stole it, And now it's just between all of them now.
Yeah, they'll have a little bit. Yeah, they know Live is known for.
But Tekken's just their fighting stages are a little bit more elaborate. Even there's like the story fighting. I think I'll enjoy this actual story mode of Tekken a lot more. Granted, I know probably a lot more about the Street Fighter lore through just YouTube videos and things like that, but the Tekken lore is kind of wild with the different characters stuff being all kind of all over the place. But yeah, I definitely enjoy like the Tekken aesthetic a little bit more.
Well, Tekken's cool because of the. I know we have Street Fighter 6 up there. We're talking about Tekken. But long story short, though, Tekken, I like the idea that a father was such a monstrous asshole to his son, tried to kill him, and then that son came back to kill his dad. Then that dad tried to kill his grandson. That's Jin. Like the whole very, very domestic disturbance amongst that family is a very compelling story, I think, in of itself. So I like that. I think all three the big wigs.
Hashtag daddy issues.
You are Mishima.
Yeah. That's the epitome of daddy issues. I like the lore of Tekken a lot. Tekken 8, I'm sure we'll carry that on. I like the lore of combat for the most part, but I like the lore of Street Fighter 6 or Street Fighter.
So they all have very. When we talk about Tekken 8, we know who to bring on for the show. Got you for sure.
Just grab him and Nick and let them go at it.
Mm-hmm.
We wish they have them play it too. Actually, let them have a contest. Or
I don't know. Nick may be different. I don't know. Nick, he's fighting competitively in those games. I don't know if there's anybody that can. Sito may be nice. I don't know.
Sito might be. That's what I'm saying.
Competed in this shit, so I'm like,
so I want to see that. I want to see Sito. You were there. Sito, if you're up for it, let us know.
That's content.
We'll get that going. Sito, yeah.
He's up for it. Moving on to some other things that are coming out, getting into the DLC realm. We know now that Horizon Forbidden West has a DLC coming, Burning Shores, as well as Cyberpunk is dropping another DLC, Phantom Liberty. Start with Cyberpunk.
Tell me who's in Cyberpunk.
You heard tell you excited? Go ahead, my boy.
No, it's Mr. Elba. Mr. Elba was there. He was like, "Yo, I'm here." Also, he was there. He was actually at the or using satellite. He was there talking about the game and his appearance in it and stuff, and seeing people actually like be happy to see it. It's like the one guy that's like cooler than Keanu, more or less, is like Idris Elba, basically. So it was fun to watch those two trying to save that game.
Me recently starting to play. I recently got into the game recently. I said recently 15 times. I played it recently. I'm enjoying the story so far. I'm getting. I think for me playing it without going through the whole bug apocalypse that happened when the game first initially dropped, kind of getting it from a neutral, unbiased opinion. I think the game plays well. I like the story. I like the customization. So far, I got to get into a little bit deeper to see if I actually want to spend bread on a DLC. But so far, it looks dope. I don't know if it'll stay that way, but I know you guys feel it differently because you got it on launch day, right?
No, the gameplay was never necessarily an issue. The game plays pretty smoothly when it was working. It looks pretty good when it's working. And the story plays out pretty well when it's working.
When it's working, that's the
that's what I have. Now that it works, then I'm sure it's pretty good. But it just didn't work when it first came out like it was supposed to.
You gotta remember, it took literally 13. I think it's in its 13th patch now, so it's like 13 patches to get it operating properly. That's a lot. That's a lot to ask people. So and Charlie, and notice that we're playing at day one. Because I remember talking to him. We were playing at day one. We're like, yo, it's okay. And while I was talking to him, he got booted off his game. So it's like, well, never mind that. But I hope it does play better. I mean, it's CD Projekt Red. My favorite game of all time is Witcher 3. And I want it to be successful. I want it to be playable. We don't want games to be bad. That makes no sense. So I'm hoping that, and I'm not sure what Idris Elba's character is. I'm not sure if he play as his character or if he's someone we meet in the game. But I am very curious. I'm curious.
Yeah, I think it'll bounce back. I personally think there isn't a game that can't bounce back. Seeing games that are like, again, I think my prime example being Rainbow Six Siege, how that was literally like an egregious failure initially launched, and then that game was showing up at all kinds of competitions and shit later on once they picked the fan base, added in some more dope content, added in some really good promotion for it, and then people kind of flock back to it. As long as you put it in the right people in place, I don't think there's a game that can really be out of just down and out permanently unless they don't handle it right on the return.
I don't know if Avengers can come back.
Yeah,
they're making an effort. So I recently started playing that again, and there's news like they're working on Traversal. They're taking a break for the holidays, but They have a list of heroes they're adding in. They're updating traversal to make characters faster and like certain
But
characters
they
jump a little bit
added
higher.
enemies besides the
Yeah, they're adding
robots.
in.
That's
They're adding different robots. The Ultron's coming and they're doing
the robots.
an open world wasteland thing with that game because it's PG-13, isn't it? Or not PG-13.
Yeah, it's like TV 14.
T-15.
14.
So yeah, they can't have too many real people because you're literally smacking them in the face with a hammer and throwing grenades on them and blowing them.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but like there's so many different places within the Marvel world and so many different creatures that they can pull from. Like for them to only have robots,
They don't
is a
only have
crime.
robots. They
It's
have
like-
people. They have AIM, like people that work for AIM in there.
They have Abomination, and yeah, I guess because AIM, the whole point is their advanced idea mechanics. So of course they don't have a lot of robotic stuff, but it was a very limited roster. It was like not Skullmaster. I'm sorry, Taskmaster, Abomination,
Super
And a lot of,
Claw.
helicopters and helicjets.
a lot of helicopters and like Enjoy type of stuff. It was like the world that you were traversing. Like Avengers wasn't as much broken as it was unengaging. With Cyberpunk, it was broken. With Skyrim, it was broken. Like other games, they were broken, and when they got fixed more, that wasn't that was better to play. Avengers
now they have a good bit of content now, from the different raids they added in to the different high level things you can do. They have since you guys probably last played, they have 4 additional bosses. It's just a matter of getting people to come back to play it. Because we recently we're playing with Winter Soldier and playing with Jane Foster. The roster is so damn big now.
What you said?
Yeah, Jane Foster was in there.
Yeah, she was put in a little bit. Yeah, she's in the game. They have, again, the roster's huge. Characters are huge. They have a lot more boss fights and raids and different things. The raids ain't no fucking joke either. I tried playing that shit the first one a while back, and I could not get through it without a team.
Yeah, of course. That's so put up a raid. Yeah.
That shit was crazy. But it's just a matter of getting people to take a step back into it, which I think will probably happen with. Because for people that don't know, I know we're talking about Avengers for a minute now, but Crystal Dynamics was purchased by, I can't remember the name of the company, but they were bought out. And what's going to happen pretty much is they're going to do a presentation to that new parent company to be like, hey, this is our vision for the game going forward. Give us some money so we can make this thing happen. So there's a possibility that they get funding to make the game better. That's been a thing that's been restricting them as far as making more original characters, and characters aren't combinations of previous models. They don't have the money to mocap more people or to get more shit in. So they've had to mix and match, which for that being the case, I think the characters they've added in have been pretty good. They have a lot of similarities to older characters, like Winter Soldier is a mashup of Cap and Black Widow, but he still feels unique in his own way. And he's fun to play with. But
your boy Lejeune was saying that on his channel, how they're making that pitch to whatever their parent company is, I'm not sure, or their other company to get more money, which could of course change things significantly, actually, besides just characters too. So hopefully, I mean, more power to them. I think the last time that Otis and I played was when they had the Spider-Man update. Did you play it since then, Otis? When they brought the Spider-Man?
Yeah, I played. We were playing not too long ago for something. I can't remember why. I think one of my coworkers at Ollie's was playing it for a little bit, and I tried to play for it with him. And it's cool. The issue that I have with Avengers is not so much that there's not a lot to do. It's the fact that you have to do so much of it. It's a major time investment along with having to do those same things repeatedly.
Yeah,
it's Destiny, but it's also it's Avengers. The amount of time that it takes to level up your characters and collect the gear for your characters and get your characters up to raid level, and then you have to repeat the raids to get better gear within the raids. It's the exact same time consumption issue that Destiny has, and I don't necessarily need another Destiny.
Yeah, but I think the difference between that and Destiny is just Destiny has a competitive aspect that they don't really have in Avengers to kind of draw people in for it, for the grind.
Right.
I don't think they can. I think they're trying to add in some more open world stuff. They're going to do with the Ultron coming in, they're going to do a open world thing, and they're trying to improve traversal to try to make it a little bit more fun. I don't know. Maybe that game's sad, but I know other articles have been written that after 2024, they're kind of done adding in new content. The game's kind of just going to sit.
Right.
But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. At this point, I put so much time into the game, I can't just throw it away because I spent the full 60 when it first dropped. I pre-ordered it, and I put hella time into it. I'm gonna ride this bitch till the wheels fall off because I made it back.
Fair.
But that's just me.
But before we run out of time, because Avengers wasn't even at the
It
the Game
wasn't.
Awards.
It wasn't.
Destiny
Yeah,
was. Destiny was.
Destiny. Yeah. So
Mhm.
Destiny. Did you have some thoughts on this on the what's it called? It's Nightfall.
Lightfall.
Lightfall. I was going to call it Nightfall.
Oh, that trailer that they put out was crazy. I mean, they show. We're going to talk about it on our other podcast, the Blurred Lines podcast network, Destiny Lore and more. But um, there's a lot of things coming to that world of Destiny that I'm excited to see coming from that. Of course, the new supers look great. Every time they show them, they look even better. Becoming the Green Spider-Man combined with ninja stuff is it's a nice combination. So I'm sure it's going to be a lot of new people playing Destiny when that comes out, and I'm looking forward to beating them in the Crucible.
The best part is how casually he said it. He said like a matter of fact, like someone said, "What time is it?" Oh, it's 5:30. I'm looking forward to beating them in the Crucible. It's still this dead event. I love it.
So let's see though. I don't know if you're talking about Avengers or Leah. I think you're talking about Avengers. Hit me up. We'll play for sure. I'm down to run. I need somebody to help me through shit anyway. But on Destiny specifically, I personally for sure am going to get back into playing it kind of heavy. I kind of played it off and on forever because I know y'all play it heavy. But whenever I get into it heavy is when y'all are off of it heavy. So I'm trying to time it right. Me being employed really soon, I'm gonna have money and more time to actually put time into it to get better at it. Because I'm here for the Green Lantern Titan. I'm for sure doing that. Right. And now that I've seen the Cad Bane Hunter, I gotta do that. It's gotta be a thing I do. So I'm probably playing tonight to some extent to try to work on getting back into stuff and put some money into it when I get a chance.
Word. Yeah, I actually so for those who don't know, Otis came to my crib in LA, and he actually spent like an hour plus fixing my characters in Destiny.
Too,
so my builds are much stronger now than they were before. I can actually fight people. So I've been playing a lot more recently too. I'm gonna play some more once, of course, the new DLC drops in February and whatnot as well. So yeah, I'm on board for it. And the trailer was dope. But the thing is, Destiny's trailers and visuals and storytelling have never been a problem for the most part. You know, it's they have some of the buy to play gates they have that can be annoying, but the actual lore and the actual gameplay and stuff has always been enjoyable.
Right. Getting into like the last two games to me that stood out that I was actually excited about and possibly playing in the future. The first one being Dune Awakening. There's not a lot that was announced about this, well, at least a lot of gameplay that was given about this game outside of the trailer. But apparently it's going to be an open world MMO game. The abilities you have are going to be developing as you use them more.
You said MMO?
MMO, yeah.
It's like as in with other people?
Yes.
Wow. That's a major problem for other games. Okay, continue. I'm sorry. Did not mean to say.
Yeah. It's going to have open world traversal. It's going to be really in depth with customization, things like that. These are just the things that have been reported on the game so far. We haven't seen any gameplay yet, but these are just the things that are known to the public so far. The game, to me, I'm excited to see more of the world because I know in the movie we talked about the movie not really showing the best diversity when it comes to environment. So maybe there's some. I haven't read the book, so I'm assuming there's more in the books that wasn't shown in the movie that'll probably be shown in the game. But I'm excited to see.
The whole idea that's set in that desert planet, basically. But,
all we saw was sand and different shades of sand.
Yeah. I don't like sand.
We all knew it was sand. We all knew it was coming. We all knew it was coming. That's what that movie, that trilogy is known for. Of course, sand. But I'm not sure who the developer was, but I remember when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, it's actually got a pretty good pedigree behind it. And that little bit of small footage they showed, it did look good.
Mm-hmm. If they can make something that looks like that into an MMO, oh man,
that's a lot of work. That can't be game. That's a lot of for a complete MMO. That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. Right.
We'll see how it goes. I'll try it.
My last game that I'm really interested in, this one I'm for sure. Depending on how the gameplay looks when some of it drops, I may pre-order it. Transformers, I think Reactivate is what it's called.
Reactivate.
The only thing, Reactivate. The only thing we've seen of it so far is a cinematic trailer, and it looks like it's gonna be first person, which could be cool. If it's Transformers, for me, I personally would like to see a third person, just because I just want to see you transform into shit and see the battling or whatever else. But that's just me personally. I wouldn't be opposed to a first person Transformers game. Obviously, me playing the earlier ones with the Battle of Cybertron, I think was one that was on 360 and PS3 era.
Yeah.
And I feel like did they have a movie game? This type of movies, I thought that was pretty. I don't remember how bad they were, but I remember me having fun playing.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Yeah, the Cybertron one is the best one. Those a War for Cybertron, whatever. That's one.
Yeah, those were fire. Actually, the multiplayer for those was pretty solid. I wish that they would continue doing that. I mean, if this was along the same line as those, I'll try it out. I'm with Charlie. I would rather see that one in third person than first person. But I mean, if first person is how they do it, I'll at least look at it to see if it's worth buying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe it. Just based off of the trailer, it could go either way. It could be that they were trying to have as a reveal, so that's why they kept it in the first person mode. And I'm guessing it was like Bumblebee.
It was Bumblebee. It had to be. Iconic yellow Transformers had to be.
Yeah, that's why they probably Bumblebee. But it could. My first thought was when I first just saw what was happening is, oh no, is this a fucking Anthem sequel? Like, don't do that. But it wasn't. It was obviously Transformers.
Do that. The issue with Anthem is that it came out too soon. The system couldn't run it, and it was crashing for everybody.
The system was bad and broken. And that's a serious
I still wish y'all niggas would have told me I stopped playing that game before I bought it. Because I bought that shit, played through the story. It was like, oh, we're off that now. I'm like, the fuck?
That's a while ago. Yeah, that was
I think I got it like 4 months after it came out, and I'm thinking they're still playing it heavy. And then when I bought it, they're like, nah, bro, that shit's trash. Don't play that no more.
Nah, don't play that.
Well, I just spent $60, and it is what it is.
It is what it is. It was what it was. But yeah, I'll try. I mean, I'd say as y'all, if it's third person, especially if it's third person, it may be fun. Because we've seen lots of third-person Transformers games. I wonder what a first-person Transformers game would be like, essentially. I don't know.
Possibly. Again, I said the last one before, but it's probably the last one, and I bring this up just because I know you two actually played the series. Final Fantasy
16.
16, yeah.
That looks immensely immense.
So go ahead. I'll let you guys discuss about it. I may pick it up. Because I haven't played a Final Fantasy game at all yet. I don't really know anything about that lore at all.
You haven't? Oh, really? Okay.
No, never got into that.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm interested. I've heard good things about the previous game, and I've seen some gameplay from the previous one. It looks pretty solid. So I'm interested to see what this one holds. And I'm gonna have to watch some videos to kind of catch up on lore stuff.
Well, first of all, I mean, they're keeping the same line of as 15, making it completely action game. So I'm happy to see what more them evolve on the system that they put into 15 because 15 was pretty solid. And this is the first rated M Final Fantasy game ever. So
it is. Oh, I didn't see that was rated M.
I'm curious to see exactly how that turns out because
that's wild.
Blood.
What I'm thinking is if as M based off of some of the stuff in the characters, it may actually be because of sex content or whatnot. We may actually do that.
Possibly. We know you like your sex content.
Sir. Somehow I become known as the pervert of this show, but I'll take it. I'll wear like a badge of honor, I guess.
All right, Rusty, let's do it. You got a third moniker?
No, but I mean, you're playing as a knight essentially, so I'm curious to see what that fighting combat looks like in action.
So one thing you say you play as a knight. Is it set up where like a BioWare game where you're one lead character and you have a squad around you, or can you still I
think it's going to be like that, one lead character squad around you. Because that's how 15 was. So I don't imagine them going far from that motif, which they could. I mean, who knows? Final Fantasy has had more games in more ways of having games than I've ever seen from any other franchise. Period. They have. Turn-based action, top-down simulation. You name a genre of game, they've made it in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So whatever they want to do, I'll at least see it.
Yeah, but you could argue Kingdom Hearts is also because it's a Square Enix.
It might as well be a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
So again, whatever they put out, I'll at least give it a try. But what I'm seeing of it, it looks really good, man.
Oh yeah, it looks fantastic. It looks really overwhelmingly epic. Yeah. I wasn't a fan of 15. I didn't play 15. It looked like it was literally boy band on a car trip.
15 was nice, man. Especially that gameplay. I mean, it's a teleporting swordsman, so of course I'm slightly biased. But I mean, the story of Ford is pretty solid. I mean, Noctis is essentially Sasuke. Like he
looks
has all
just
of
like
the same
Sasuke.
character Sasuke traits of
Just like
Sasuke,
Sasuke.
but
It's Sasuke haircut. So
yeah,
it didn't. So 15 didn't. I didn't play it that much. I just saw reviews and stuff of it. And I was like, okay, you do your thing. You drive your car down your street. But this game is definitely more my genre as far as it literally looks like an epic sword and sorcery or might and magic type of thing with really really high caliber graphics, really great voice acting, and so I'm definitely coming back for that one. I'll be there for 15.
Right.
I play most of the Final Fantasy games. 7 is still one of my favorite game experiences of all time. Have you ever? You haven't played 7, or I know you haven't played them, but are you familiar with 7 at all, Dev? Okay,
Not at all.
but it's some of the most iconic things we think of with gaming came from that, as far as having like the actual like badass antagonist that you see your team doing everything you can to fight. Came from 7 or what? 7 and 3 primarily. So yeah, I'm there for it.
Yeah. Speaking of
Cloud
Bioware,
and Sephiroth.
Yeah, Cloud Sephiroth.
Speaking of Bioware, future videos we're going to be planning on putting out. Obviously, we have more of the Mass Effect walkthrough stuff going on. We're going to try to get more of those out because we will be taking a slight hiatus through the new year. While I have a lot of changes going on for me graduating school and relocating to a whole new area and different things going on with family. So taking a quick hiatus, but we will be having videos and content drop within that time period. Just want the live show going on. So if you want to see more of those videos, go over to our YouTube channel at the Then and Now Podcast. We would appreciate you guys showing some support there. Besides that, we're gonna have some POIs drop there, obviously. And then when I get back, I'm gonna we're gonna try to get the Dragon Ball documentary done relatively soon. Well, hopefully relatively soon.
We'll see. We'll see. But before we go, of course, we're not done just yet. We have, of course, addressed the winners of the game awards.
Do we have to?
Of course, I want to. And I'm not sure. Otis, did you say your favorite game you're looking for the most was it Suicide Squad for you? Is that what you said?
Oh no, it's for sure.
Destiny.
Forspoken.
Okay. For me, the one I'm looking forward to most, we didn't mention it, was Banishers. Banishers, if you guys remember that one, Banishers is the one where it looks kind of like a Witcher game, but it's not a spoiler. The game, it shows it how the love of your life, what have you, is dead already, and she was your partner as well. So you're able to, during the game, she is able to team up with you to you're able to use like a ghost, almost in a Shadow of Mordor style, with you as you do different things. Just imagining a Witcher meets Shadow of Mordor type of game is like I'm here for it.
I'll check it out.
Great.
Right. Fair enough. Anything
else? We have to at least we can't.
All right, bro. We can talk about it. God of War got snubbed. It got snubbed. Elden Ring won Game of the Year. Obviously, I feel like I have a really good opinion on it now because I've played both of those games significantly. Probably put more time in Elden Ring than I did God of War, honestly. But it won Game of the Year. Understandably so, because I will say Elden Ring had a lot of people that weren't even into Soulsborne games going over to play it for content and streaming it. And just because it was rage content, people wanted to break their shit trying to play it. So I understand that it did have a really big impact on it. I think part of that too is that God of War dropped so late in the year. I feel like if it dropped earlier, maybe it would have been able to you've seen a little bit more sustained impact on the gaming community. But what are your thoughts on
said they mentioned that if
no, I won't take anything away from Elden Ring. Elden Ring was a good game. It's just God of War was better. I'll leave it at that.
What about it? What about it? Because for me, story. I know I'm very biased. I grew up playing single player games, so I'm biased to a really well
story, gameplay, just overall level of immersion. Were significantly better in God of War. I mean, sure, you have more variety in Elden Ring. There's a lot more to explore. So I mean, again, I'm not calling Elden Ring a bad game. Like honestly, if I'm, I think we rate Elden Ring at some point. Like it's like an 8 to me. It's a really good game. It's just God of War is a 10. Like
yeah. So I think part of what it is too is that it does boil down to the type of gaming experience you want, and those two are polar opposites in lots of ways. They really are. With Stray right in the middle. because the Elden Ring is very much all gameplay and open world and environment searching, and God of War Ragnarok is very much a linear story, a single player campaign with lots of actual, with the narrative being a big thrust of it, and the actual voice acting and characters that way being a big thrust of it too. In Elden Ring, you have an overwhelming flurry of moves and weapons you can get. God of War, you primarily have 3 main weapons, and the move set's limited. It's there, but it's what do you want? Like you said, Otis, the immersion for me too. I thought the immersion of God of War was more palpable than the immersion I had in Elden Ring. However, the gaming experience, I played Elden Ring for like 200 hours. I played with all of y'all, with my brother and my cousin. I played with the pieces. It's comparing those two. They're both great games. It could have gone either way. So I am not mad that Elden Ring won. I personally liked playing God of War more, but I definitely enjoyed Elden Ring. And Elden Ring is an achievement. You can't deny that.
Yeah, most definitely. And to Cito's point, yeah, it got a lot of them. I just felt like it didn't get the one that mattered. It's like getting, like for the NBA standards, like not getting that championship. You got the MVP, you got the defensive player of the year, but you didn't get that championship and that Finals MVP. That is the one that everybody wants. Yeah, the others have credibility, and people will acknowledge those in the end to your overall legacy. But like that the final one is really what matters to us, well, to me at least.
No, it's fair. It's a fair critique. And of course, God of War did win it last time. They in 2018, right, fam? 2018.
Yes.
So they do have won that trophy, and they were nominated again this year. So it's still,
All right. So we'll see. I'm excited for the next one. I don't know if it'll be a trilogy or if they're going to try to run off more. But the way they've been writing stuff and the quality of the game, I'm not opposed to there being more. As long as
they can't end now. They can't end entirely now. I mean, we all know. Spoiler alert! As far as like Atreus's story, is more to it. So they can't completely end now. There's no reality which is completely over. I can't accept that. I refuse to accept that. I will punch a koala bear in the mouth if that's true.
You want to find one first?
If I start now, I can find them. I mean, it won't be easy, but I'll find them eventually.
Sure, guys. Thank you.
Real quick shout out. We're having a next weekend. Cito, friend of the show, Cito, and friend of the show, James P, who'll be on the show soon enough, graphic designer. We're doing a big, huge Batman and Robin watch along where we're going to do it's a drinking game where every time something dumb is said, we have to drink, and we're ugly sweaters for the holidays.
You're gonna die doing that.
Twice. I'm gonna die twice. But I'm gonna die watching that movie because it's so terrible. I'm gonna die from drinking myself to pieces. But we're gonna post. I'm gonna record some of that footage too to post on the channel too. So watch along with us and it'll be fun.
Okay, don't be careful. That's all I got. Be careful.
Too late for that.
Again, I will say church announcements. We kind of already gave our church announcements a minute ago, but thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you for your support. We hope you continue to support. And remember, an important lesson that here at the Internet Podcast acknowledge:
some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Go visit echelongraphicnovels.com and buy some comics.
Please buy that shit.